Namaskar, friends. In today's oration, we will continue with what God says of Himself. Before speaking on that, let me, friends, mention 2 points. One point is, I am speaking of all these verses on what God says about Himself. The reason is, there is man beneath it. God addresses to man, and man finds himself in the creation. Till today, no philosophy, no religion has ascertained man's position in creation as such. Man has been living as an individual. Purpose of religion is redemption, nirvana, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. But in these verses on what God says of Himself, there is implicit implication of man's position in creation. God might have intended man to do something to sustain his creation. Secondly, friends, the many verses of Rigveda, they have two-dimensional meaning. Two-dimensional meaning means one relates to heaven and heavenly affairs, celestial matters. Another meaning relates to the earth, worldly life. Keeping this in the background, let me proceed. This is Sukta number 26, Sukta number 42, verse number 1. God says, He has two powers, dual powers. One is a sovereign power. That power which is necessary on earth for a man to rule over other men. No God can directly go and sit as a king to rule over men. In earlier verses, in the previous hymn, I told you, God is Indra, God is Varuna. Indra is king of gods. Varuna is king of waters. But what about the king over men? Men will be king over men. But the sovereign power is of gods. He is the reservoir of the sovereign power. Anybody acting as a king or any other capacity as a superpower over men, he is a trustee of God. God endows him that power to govern human beings. That means God has kept in mind man's interest in governance. Second power of God is the power of immortality, which He confers upon gods and goddesses, not upon men. So He says, Mama Dvita Rashtrang Kshatriyasya. To Kshatriya I entrust the work of governance. I bestow sovereign power. Vishwayur Vishwe Amruta Jatha Naha. Whole longevity, universe's whole longevity, that means immortality, I bestow on gods. Kratu Satante Varunasya Deva. Kratu is valour, capacity, also intelligence. I entrust intelligence and capacity on men to govern, and intelligence on men to obey the king. Because because unless people obey the ruler cannot rule. Kratu Satante Varunasya Deva. Rajami Krusti Rupamasya Babri. I am the king over men's most lofty cover. I am the king of, that means I am the ruler of the most proximate forms of man. I closely follow what humans are doing and control their actions and behaviors not seen by them. This sentence is somewhat very pregnant with immense implications. Kratu sachante varunasya deva raja me kruste upavasya babri. Next hymn is 42, hymn number 42, verse number 2. Ahang raja varuna mehang, I am King Varuna. Varuna earlier was a god of waters. Here Varuna is king over the subterranean regions, underworld, hell, and also all darker aspects of a creation. Destruction, sin, everything. Ahang raja varuna mehang, tanya surjani prathama dharayanto. Tani asurjani, tanya surjani. This joint word. Asurjani means forces hostile to the working of the sun. What are the forces hostile to the working of the sun, friends? Eclipse, dark clouds with the streaks of lightning. These send tremors to the heart of men in fear. I observe that. Next sentence is as of the first. Kratu sachante varunasya deva rajami kruste rupamasya babre. Next image from 26 hymn, verse number 3. Ahang bhumi matadamarjayaham. I have entrusted land, the earth to men to live on, to produce crops and survive. Ahang bhumi matadamarjayaham. Brushti dasu se martaya. To the creative world, to the underworld, to the mortal world, I have given rains. Ahamopo anayo babasana. Ahamopo, I let for the running water. Otherwise, the rain should concentrate in one place and sweep away everything. I let flow what is rained. Ahamopo anayo babasana. Babasana means desire. I am the reservoir of desire. Men desire many things. Which is my desire they cherish. And gods depend upon me to grant them a capacity to fulfill the desires of men. Men have no direct access to God. It is very important in Rig Veda, friends. Man has no direct access to God. No creature. So, ahamopo anayo babasana mamo devaso anuketayaman. Ketaya means to invite, to summon, to call. The gods always call me, summon me, invite me to grant them a capacity to fulfill the desires of men. So with these three hymns, I am closing today's lecture. Thank you.